Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from WalkingTheWind.com here with another, I think this is the fourth attempt at a guide for this spreadsheet because I accidentally keep hitting the button to stop stream. So I will not do that this time. But this is the guide for the Windwalker spreadsheet I've created. This is a long time coming. I've been working on this spreadsheet for well over 6 months, hundreds of hours. So I'll start right off with, if you like it and you like the other content that I provide, please support me through Patreon and PayPal. Every donation is appreciated and keeps me doing and adding all this great content that I add. So links to this spreadsheet can be found in this YouTube video, or below this YouTube video, as well as on walkingthewind.com, in Discord, and so on. So if you have trouble finding that, that's the place. Finding the link to the spreadsheet, those are the places to go. So I'll get started with the first page, the Start Here page. This page is just kind of meant to give you an idea. Like it says, the spreadsheet is not designed to replace SimCraft or other tools. It's just a project that I've been working on. It works better than SimCraft in some ways and worse than SimCraft in others. SimCraft can of course be improved upon, but there are limitations to a spreadsheet that there's only so much I can do. If you look to the right where it says less than optimal things, you'll see some of the limitations with the spreadsheet and how things had to be implemented. Because of circular dependencies and just the sheer amount of coding and formulas that it would take to do these things perfectly, it's just not worth the time for a very small increase. So these things are in there. They're not quite optimal, but they all should work fine enough. On the left where it says check here for spreadsheet updates, this button will always direct you to the newest and most recent version of the spreadsheet. So what you do when you get to this spreadsheet is, first thing you do is you go up to File and hit Make a Copy. This will make a personal copy for you that you can use and edit at your whim. The original you should not be able to edit, so you have to make your own copy. And please do that right away, because we don't want to get people stacked up like this. These people who are idle are more hurting than helping. Once it reaches a certain amount, then it goes into HTML view when so many people are watching. So please immediately make a copy and then close this tab or window and work simply off your own copy. This button will always take you back to the original and the most updated version. This is just a credit. There were a lot of people who helped work with me on this spreadsheet, that created tools or simply helped with formulas or checking it and stuff like that. So a big thank you to everyone who helped me there. If you like the content and like the spreadsheet, here's a link to the donate page on Walking the Wind, where you can support me and let me know that you enjoy all this content that I provide. So let me get to the main page. The main page, any of these pages down here in green, these are going to be the ones that are important to you. The yellow one is not super important, and red ones are the ones you're not going to want to touch. They have formulas and stuff, so you don't want to touch them. So the main page, as we get started, anything in this yellow color, this kind of gold-ish color, that's going to be the stuff that you can edit. Everything else you don't want to edit. It updates dynamically, has formulas, stuff like that, so please don't edit anything else. Just this yellow color. So up here you can set your player skill, going down from perfect to derp. The spreadsheet is literally perfect. It's based on averages and casts, so it reaches a level that humans will literally be impossible to reach. SimCraft can be reached, can be beaten in some situations, but the spreadsheet, you're not going to be able to beat the spreadsheet without incredibly, basically impossibly high luck. So you can set whatever skill level. Each skill level delays things in certain abilities in different ways. So as you go down, it delays more abilities a longer period of time. The attempt is to make it seem more realistic. So here you're going to put your stats, your race, item level, relic, artifact item level. You'll include your legendaries here if you want to include Touch of Karma damage, or if you have suffice and you want to say, mess around with how effective you are at keeping the buff up. You can do that here. Change your talents down here. It'll give you a SimCraft code if you want to put it into the talents portion of SimCraft to sim this section. You can do it that way. This pawn code is for this tool over here, which I'll get to. Then trinkets down here, you put that in. It has every trinket that we currently have available to us at every item level. So make sure you put in a trinket, an item level that trinket actually has, and this will again update everything else dynamically. These are your artifacts. So you're going to want to put whatever your artifact relics in here. For example, Rising Wind, my character has 3 Rising Wind relics, so that's why this is at 6 instead of 3. So you're going to edit your artifact traits to match your character. Down here, consumables, tier bonuses, enchants, stuff like that. You can mess around with whatever settings you want. If you want it to be based on your current character, if you want to see what it would be like if you used Old War instead of Prolonged Power, you can do that. As you can see, the difference is relatively minor. This part right here is very important. Targets hit. Some abilities do scale with targets, others do not. So if you want to look at AoE, you can change the targets. Mark of the Crane stacks, if you say, okay, there's 5 targets and I can easily maintain 5 stacks of Mark of the Crane, that's where you're going to edit that here. Like that, by default, it should be around single target, but you can mess around with that. So then all of these tools on the right, these are the tools that you're going to want to use, the information that you want to get information from. This Relic Tool helps you compare relics, set whatever relic you want at the item level. It tells you which one is best based on all of the other current information you've provided. If you want the best possible thing, then take away one of your relic traits. So say I have 5, say I'm deciding between these 2, this will best tell you what the answer is. This is the relic comparison, similar to what we have on walkingthewind.com. And this is just the number that you add to the item level that the relic provides in order to get the total weight and the total worth of the relic. Down here we have stat weights. These will update dynamically based on everything else over here. They're based on increasing the stat by 1%, 1 point, stuff like that. So the stat weights work very well. I'm pretty confident in them. They will also update the pawn string down here. You can copy and paste this directly into pawn. It will tell you based on what talents you have selected, how many targets and Mark of the Crane stacks currently selected. So if you want a string for 5 targets, string for 3 targets, 10 targets, 1 target, whatever you want to do, it will update dynamically and give you that target, or give you that pawn string. This fight length right here is where you're going to change what the fight length is. So if you want to check out a 30-second burst, mythic plus pull or dungeon pull versus a 5-minute boss fight, this is your DPS. If you'd like to see a breakdown of all the damaging ability and number of casts, you can expand this up here. By default, I keep it hidden just because it's not strictly necessary information, but if you'd like to look at it, it's all up here. So I keep it hidden. This ability priority will update dynamically, again based on everything else over here, and it just gives you an idea of what abilities you should press in what order. So if you have all of these abilities up, which ones should you press? Which one does the most damage? And again, that will update dynamically based on everything else. This item comparison down here will let you say, okay, say you got a set of pants that have 1500 stam and 2000 agility, and you got another one that's got 2500 stamina and 1500 agility. Well, it will show you that the current item, or the one with 2000 agility, is better, tell you the difference and stuff like that. So it will not take tier bonuses into consideration. It will not take things like that, set bonuses. It's strictly looking at stats, but it will, if you're on the fly and panicking because you want to know if one item is better, if you have the spreadsheet already set up for your character, you can put in the item comparison and it will tell you which item will provide more damage based on what you currently have. So these are all the tools in the main sheet. There's quite a lot here and a lot of information that you can get from it. So next is we have the spinning crane kick chart. This is very similar to the chart that we had previously, where it tells you how many stacks you need for spinning crane kick to replace these abilities. It will update based on your character that you set up in the main sheet. As you can see, Fist of Fury is not on this list because my character has Katsuo, so Fist of Fury is way up at the top. It does assume that you're hitting all targets with all abilities. Spinning crane kick is obviously easier to hit all the targets because it's all around you as opposed to a cone in front of you, so that's some of the things you need to take into consideration. These are just the targets that you would hit. So if you're going to hit 10 targets with spinning crane kick, but versus 2 targets with Strike of the Windlord, then take that into consideration. So it will update again dynamically based on everything else that you set on the previous tab. I think this visual is just a better way of looking at it as opposed to the previous chart that we have. The previous chart is underneath this, so if you would like to you know, hide this chart, delete this chart. That didn't actually do anything. And if you prefer the other way, just delete this chart for some reason, and the other one should be underneath. I don't know how well it's color coded and stuff, but if you really feel like doing that, then you can. So this is another tool that I've spent a little bit of time on, not a lot of time. So it's definitely not perfect, but this will let you mess around with openers. If you want to know the difference between Tiger Palm followed by Rising Sun Kick compared to Tiger Palm followed by Strike of the Windlord, and you know, so on and so forth, and you want to compare the differences in, say, starting with 3 stacks of hit combo versus 0, and what effect they have on your DPS. This is where you're going to do it. This stuff will all update dynamically to let you know what the cooldown is and stuff like that. You can use these tools and adjust them, adjust the merge as you want. Currently it's set to 6 seconds because that's what my character is for Rising Sun Kick. But it will update dynamically, so you can adjust it, or at least it was. I guess I changed the player skill. But these will not update. The length of these will not update dynamically. They're just meant to be a visual. If you want to say, okay, this is where Rising Sun Kick goes, so I know it's up when this cooldown is up, and so on. You can do that. So this tool, like I said, is not perfect. I haven't spent a ton of time in it. Trinkets and stuff are not implemented, but it's just meant if you have any questions, you want to play around with the tool, you could just copy and make it go. If you want to go 300 seconds and see how you can cast and plan things out, knock yourself out, it's meant to just be a tool to play around with. Lastly, this page, the Rank Your Trinkets page, does basically exactly what it says based on the information that you put in the main tab. Primarily, especially the targets hit and Mark of the Crane stacks. It allows you to put the trinkets you would like to compare in over here on the left. Again, only edit the yellow sections, but you can set whatever trinket and item level that you want. It will only work if the trinket actually has that item level. And then it will rank them for you. It will put which one provides the most damage, the most DPS over the others. The best way to use this is, like I say, appears to unequip your trinkets down here, take them out like so, and then you would also want to adjust the stats up here as if you had no trinkets. You can do that in game, but basically because the value in these columns is based on the stat weights from here, so it will increase or decrease the value based on what you have. You don't want to have 2 trinkets equipped here and then be comparing a 3rd trinket. It won't give you quite the optimal answers. The optimal answer will always be to act as if you have no trinkets, like in Simcraft. It's always best to act as if that socket is blank. So you put your trinkets over here. It tells you in order which ones will provide the most damage. If you want to edit how many targets are hit or Mark of the Crane stacks, you have to do it over here. But again, if you want to know AoE, what trinket is better for AoE, you can set it here, set it that way. And lastly, this section shows you the best trinkets that's available. It will give you the top 20 trinkets based on your current stats, targets hit, Mark the Crane stack, stuff like that. Everything else that you've put on the main tab, it will tell you which trinkets will provide the most bang for your buck. Similar to Simcraft, things like Eye of Command and Chaos Talisman will not drop stacks in AoE situations. I could code it that way, but I don't think I want to. So take that with a grain of salt, but since it ranks 20, it should give you a really good idea of what is best for your character at the time. If you have your character and you take away their trinkets in the stats and the stats over here, then this will tell you the trinkets that you're going to want to aim for in whatever situation that you set up with based on length of the fight, targets hit, stuff like that. So this is kind of an idea of what is quote-unquote best in slot. This trinket sheet is a relatively new addition, but I'm pretty confident that it works. It's taken pretty much directly from Nefir of his Holy Priest spreadsheet and Dreamguard's Holy Paladin spreadsheet. But again, this is not meant to replace SimCraft. SimCraft does work. It will be a little bit more realistic. For DPS, a lot of healers tools will have tools like this because simulations don't work quite as well or at all for healers as they do for DPS. So this is kind of the last and the newest tool. As any tools pop up, if I have any ideas, they will always be added. So check back every once in a while using this button to make sure you have the most recently updated version. This is the changelog where I'll try and keep track of all the changes that I make over time. And then, like I said, these tabs down here you don't need to worry about. They are all the math and stuff. So I highly recommend not changing anything there, or it will drastically backfire on you unless you know exactly what you're doing. So again, you put your information here, get information out, all these other tools down here at the bottom. So thank you for listening. I hope this answers more questions than it creates. Again, this tool I've worked on for hundreds of hours, if not over 1,000, several thousand hours. I've been working on it pretty consistently since July, which at this point is over 6 months. So if you like this content and all the other content that I provide, because I was still doing the website and videos and podcasts and Discord and all the other stuff while working on this. So if you like all the content that I provide and have the ability, then please support me through through Patreon and PayPal, and keep me doing all this stuff that I'm doing in my incredibly busy real life, and keep me motivated and providing all this this content for you. I'm not going. I don't beat around the bush, and that money will keep me doing this. So if you appreciate it, please donate and support me in doing so. Hopefully you enjoyed this guide. Hopefully it answers. I think I may have said that answers more questions than it creates. Hopefully you like the spreadsheet and all the other content. You can follow me on Twitter at Babylonius Monk. You can like, comment, and subscribe to this video. There are other guides. I also put up my kill videos for mythic heroic fights when I'm playing my Windwalker monk. You can get at me on Discord. There's walkingthewind.com where all of the information from that I provide is there as well, with podcasts, articles, guides, stuff like that. So there's a plethora of information and formats that I provide, so please check them all out. If you have any questions, you can ask them through Twitter or on Discord. If you notice anything is amiss or definitively wrong about the spreadsheet, then please let me know. Through Discord is the best way, and I will try to look at it when I get a chance and fix it if it's an issue, or explain to you, potentially how you've misunderstood or goofed. I've already had a couple times when somebody went editing a non-yellow section, and that was bad, and it messed things up. So thank you for listening. Hope you like the guide and hope you like the spreadsheet, and take care.